More!
Lunch break!
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you're making a website or an online store, make it with Squarespace.
Welcome back to another lunch break. It's the holiday season. It's in full force. Thanksgiving was last week.
Yep, and I'm still working that off.
We had Thanksgiving and I was like, thank you. Next.
Hey, that's an Ariana Grande song.
Yeah.
It's a very popular song, clearly because people relate to what she's feeling right now.
Ariana is a queen. When she dropped that, it was like a surprise to everybody, but it was like amazing. You don't understand. You don't understand.
The message in it is very good. Can't say it's fully original. You know, some people have already talked about exes before. No, it's a great song. Gets everyone thinking about their relationships and their past and what they've learned. We thought today we would actually, instead of talking about things that we learned after the relationship, we want to talk about things that we wish we had known before.
If Ariana knew these things, she wouldn't be making this song.
I feel like, you know, when you're younger, you have a lot of perceptions and you have a lot of things that you think it's going to be. Things that you wish you knew before you got into your first relationship.
What about this context? Food. I think knowing what kind of foods the other is into is a big thing to know. I wish I knew that she liked the foods that I liked.
To avoid like the deliberation time, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking
Awkwardness,
about.
right? Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
I thought we were going to get deep, but Benson's just talking about food. Let's back up. Taylor, you said expectations, right?
Yeah. Before my first relationship, it was like, I think I know what I'm gonna be doing. Oh, I'm gonna put all this effort into that first date, be romantic, gonna buy flowers all the time and all this stuff.
Would you say that media definitely affects that, right? Like, I have for sure been affected by movies and TV shows I've seen. I'm like, oh my God, I want my Ross and Rachel kind of moments. And
Speaking of flowers, I wish I knew how much flowers cost ahead of time.
I think any girl in high school, has a bunch of expectations, especially for me who watched all the rom-com movies and all the cheesy TV shows. And it portrays like this, perfect happy-go-lucky thing.
do you think Guangfu contributes to perpetuating some of those myths?
In high school, I think Huang Fu had a more reputation of being of the sad videos that
Exactly.
I think more people watch. So I think it was more of like they don't understand it now, but they'll understand it in college.
So that
There's
is the real stuff.
That's
That's
real.
different.
That's kind of sad. Like, no, Phil, you were never happy.
It's realistic. I think you don't know how much your life is gonna change, like spending time with this person, especially let's say in college. You might be seeing each other every day.
Yeah.
Compared to before, like.
On that note of time, you still have all these other relationships in your lives, your friendships, your families, and just knowing how to balance that, I think.
I think when you're young, you don't even think that you need to balance. You get faced with the realities of there are things beyond just the cutesy acts that you do. You have to work out more practical stuff.
But even that stuff can be really awkward if you have no expectation.
It's a journey of realizing the mile markers for the other person and when those things should come. I think it was later on that I found out that she was ready for certain things earlier than I initiated. You know, it was I was like, oh, I thought it was being really romantic. I remember always imagining how to end that first dates in the car. You drop them off, so I guess this is it.
It's always that moment, too.
Yeah, and it's always some awkward tension in the car maybe, or at the door, and then you kiss them. It never played out like that.
It seems really endearing in media, but in real life it's super awkward.
So awkward. And then also I didn't realize how big my center console was. In the moment I was like, damn, if I'm gonna think out the play-by-play, this is a little awkward.
It's funny you mentioned this because I remember being in 5th grade and my teacher actually telling me when I was your age, it was just like a couch in your car. You know?
Oh
So
my
it was-
god, he's
it was-
old.
Yeah, he's like, it's so easy. Now you have all this stuff in the middle, but it was so much better when I was you're younger.
There's things about realizing how annoying of a person you are when your significant other tells you why do you do that? Or you don't notice certain tics about yourself?
Because before then, no one has spent as much time with you. Even your friends, right? In college, one of my girlfriends, she made this observation of that every time I finished eating, I would blow my nose. And she didn't understand that. And I was like, I never realized I did that.
Why do you have so much mucus while eating? That's
So
gross.
what I explained to her that time, because she was saying the same thing, what do you do that for? It's because I think it's like Pavlov's dog kind of thing. When you
Your
eat,
saliva going
just
up your
salivating. I
nose.
think there are multiple things that are liquefying.
I think just dating habits too. I think I put a lot of expectation on the first couple dates. And then once you get past 5 dates, it becomes more casual.
How about from a college perspective? There aren't really official dates.
Yeah.
So I think like, you know, the video, Is This a Date? I wish I knew there wasn't really like, there's not exact parameters of what a date is.
If it's ever one-on-one with a guy, I feel like it's 99% a date.
No, because afterwards I realized I had a lot of like guy friends I'd made.
Yeah, a lot of guys wanted to go on a date with you.
No.
That's basically what
Okay,
happened.
well, the thing is, like, when I was younger in high school, I had more girlfriends, and I was scared to like hang out with guys one-on-one because of that fear of being like, if I hang out with a guy one-on-one, it's a date. But eventually, I made friends with guys that were very platonic, and it was fine. And I was like, why did I worry so much about, is this not? Like, when it clearly wasn't.
I know what you mean. I felt the same way. I realized later too that like, put too much weight on the label date. You know, all it is just people trying to see if they're interested in each other.
My first date was at SeaWorld, and this was before the whole like blackfish thing.
Oh no.
So like, I wish I knew that that's the direction SeaWorld was gonna go. We think about it on our, you know, anniversary of that day, but then it's like, oh, they're really bad to those like animals.
Like in your head at that time was like, this is a good first date. I can't
Yeah. It was like so much fun, and then now we look back, it's like, shampoo.
What a bad first date. I can't believe we gave money to that place. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think like for me, I always wish I knew the importance of confidence. It took me multiple relationships to finally get to a point where like I was actually like confident in myself. That goes so far. Even before dating, like if you're even trying to get someone to like you, also like when you are in a relationship, avoiding arguments and, you know, communicating well, it all comes back to confidence and like knowing who you are. And that took like way too long for me.
Did you have like a moment where that clicked?
I feel like times when you don't feel you're confident are when you doubt if someone likes you or not. You're like, oh, why would they? Or I don't want to embarrass myself, or I'm going to get rejected. But I think one thing that started flipping for me is that I started realizing there were people that liked me that I wasn't necessarily into. Nothing that is wrong with them, it's just that I didn't see like it working out or whatever. And so like when I started saying like, oh, like they don't have anything against me, it's just like something's just not there, and like to not take it personally because I realized that I was doing that to others. So that kind of took a little bit of the weight off of like, why don't you like me? I deserve you, like and like I need to have you right now.
You definitely hear a lot of like, watch out for this in a relationship, or this is tends to happen, and like before a relationship you're like, oh, I got it. Yeah, I'll watch out for those things. It's crazy how much it's different when you're in the situation, and it's like really easy to slip into like.
For example,
For example, just balance. Like you kind of brought up earlier, of like when you're in that honeymoon phase, all you want to do is spend all your time with that person. Like the time that I was spending seeing family or other friends, I'm now replacing with the way my significant other. It was just really easy to slip into that, and it's like, okay, I gotta like start thinking more about balance.
so that actually makes me think of another thing that I learned along the way, which was I think it's very natural for everyone to just see their entire life as obviously you're the main character in your own life. But when you're in a relationship, you have to realize that's like, oh my god, like no, like you're like affecting another person who also thinks that they're living their own story, that they're the lead.
It's like if you're Frodo, your significant other is the ring. You gotta have your Sam, you gotta have the rest of the fellowship.
You lost Shen on that.
You think you're Harry Potter, and then
Ron.
You're actually the Ron to someone else, and you're like, what? I'm not Ron. I'm Harry. And then
Calling me a Weasley?
and then you start arguing about like who's more important.
Got it.
But it really, you have to see each other as two different.
There could be two Harrys.
Yeah.
There's two leads in this story.
Exactly.
I see it in more a sad way because I feel like I was really good at keeping those connections and the balance. Because like, let's say something bad happens and it ends, who's gonna be there for you? You know, it's like those connections that I hope that you still have and stuff. And like, I feel like for me, it's like, oh, that was a nice net to catch me.
Off that, like I remember being the best friend. You were always the person they confided in as like, hey, like this girl's out there, like this is.
you were the Sam.
I'm like, I'm feeling these things. I don't know how she feels. There's a point where they are now the best friend, like the significant other, and like I don't know when that switches. It's so gradual. It's no longer them coming to you for these feelings. They're just going straight to that person. I feel myself doing that. I was like, whoa, other side, you know.
Oh, you're doing it to your friends. Yeah, Taylor. Yeah, that seems to be happening.
Go straight to.
Well, on the friend side, it's okay because like on the friend side, I feel like you're supporting that. You're like,
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, totally. We're
Like, good job.
Yeah.
But then I think there's a point where like maybe so much time has passed and you get kind of sad as a friend.
Yeah.
But you're still supported.
Right.
It's like,
This is hibernating.
It's very important to remember who was there for you.
People think we're referring to Taylor's girlfriend, but it's actually Mike Bo.
Your actions and your words can affect like a domino effect. It can be like, yeah, you're like usually used to like your own life, like, oh, I do this. Actually,
right.
it actually could hurt someone else or like.
Well, it's almost like being aware of where your limbs are. If you turn too fast, you might actually like knock something over, you know? Like,
It's like a step on top of like the habit stuff we talked about. It's like even deeper and like could be worse consequences. Or maybe like even in an argument or something, like, oh, you say something, it's like each thing counts.
you know what it is? It's kind of like how, you know, people say like, everyone's okay with their own filth. When you go to someone else's place and you're like, oh God, it's so dirty, but then like sometimes your place is just as dirty, but it's because it's your own, so it's not as bad. Same thing, like you'll have bad habits, you'll say things. Your actions when you're single only affect just yourself, you know? But then if you're in a relationship, like yeah, if you forget to go to a thing, or if you misplace something, or if you are too tired or too short with someone, like that's gonna piss someone else off. It's not just, oh, Jen's just having a bad day.
Or something is important to your significant other that's like in your life not as important. So like knowing that balance too.
So you focus a lot on gifts for your significant other. At a certain point, gifts for like their family becomes a thing. You know what I mean? Like I never realized your significant other's gonna be getting gifts for your parents, you know, for like a holiday thing, and then you have to get it for their parents. And then also you're measuring yourself by your sibling significant other. It's like, hey, if they're getting a gift for their parents, I freaking have to get a gift for their parents. You know, stuff like that.
I wish I knew at a young age too that when the first one ends, it's not the end of the world. I really thought that that girl was like the only person in the world for me, you know, and I was like so heartbroken. And I wish I had known like, no, you're gonna meet a lot of other great people. So kind of take it in stride.
It's not sad.
It's sad that the first one ended. This one was tough to talk about, you know, like it takes a lot of self-reflection, and maybe this is something that you should talk about with your own partners. Reflect on what you've learned from each other.
And how your relationship affects other people, other animals.
Hopefully it helps if you're coming out of a relationship, in a relationship, or looking for one. Hopefully there's enough insight there.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below what's a lesson that you learned from a relationship that you wish you knew earlier on. Once again, special thanks and shout out to Squarespace. We love using Squarespace. That's actually what our website is made with.
They got some great templates, and they also have an award-winning 24/7 customer service.
Yep, and you can move your domains over or start a store.
Yeah, there's a bunch that you can do with Squarespace. Whatever it is, online, start it with Squarespace. It's so much easier to use than coding with HTML.
But if you need to do that, I'm sure they can help. Links below.
Use our code WONGFU at checkout for 10% off your first purchase.
It's the holidays, which means it's time to get some gift giving. And if you're single, no worries. We have 12 guys for ya.
In case you didn't know, we made an Asian Bachelor calendar.
The princes are here. The calendar is out. It's been out for the past week. Get it, limited time.
It's very limited, so don't miss out on it. Yeah. When we sell out, it's gone forever.
You can look at their faces all year round. Here, we just show you this one.
There you go.
Hey, who's that? No, that's not gonna make them want to buy it. It's just me and
No,
Taylor.
because that means they want to stick around for the whole year to see your faces.
I guess so.
Hey, confidence. Did you just talk about that?
Oh, that's right. Yes. Hey, buy 12 so that you can just have 12 Decembers the whole year.
WonFoodStore.com.
For me and Taylor.
OnFoodStore.com.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Follow us on social media. Check out our Patreon page, and we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.